Hello, you can hear me?
Hey.
Yeah, okay, good. All right, well, welcome. Thank you very much for joining the panel. Um, Today we're going to be looking at social media virality, boosting ticket sales, or just inflating market value. And we've got some great experience here on the panel, some promoters and an agent. So to my far left, I have Louis Bellavance, and he's from Festival d'Ete de Québec in Canada. I have Melanie from Move Concerts in Argentina, and Tom Grainger from United Talent Agency in London. Maybe you could just go through, who you are, what you do in your company, and what the company does, just to inform the audience. So, Louis, you want to go first?
So I'm the artistic director for a corporation in Quebec City. Oh, take two.
Yeah.
Artistic director for an independent company based in Quebec City. We run 4 festivals, including Festival d'été, which means Summerfest. And Festival d'été is the largest festival in Canada. It's been running for close to 60 years now. And we also have 2 small venues, so we basically promote talent in the Quebec City market. Quebec is 2 hours drive from Montreal, so that's the second market in the province of Quebec, which is the francophone part of Canada.
Thank you, Louis. And Tom?
Yeah, I'm Tom Grainger. I work at United Talent Agency in London, one of the big 4 agencies. I'm a live booking agent. I've been there for 4 years, represent some great artists, some of which are playing this festival that you should all go check out.
Such as who, Tom?
Fuckers, who played last night, they were amazing.
Language.
Excuse me, yeah, well, FC UK. We're going to have problems with that at Glastonbury and the BBC, but we'll get to that soon. TV on the radio, they're playing as well. And then the agency, we represent a bunch of artists, Rosalia, Little Nas X, Burna Boy. Yeah, and yeah, I'm a live booking agent, so I do touring, book festivals, or pitch to promoters, and all that fun stuff, yeah.
Brilliant, okay, thanks. And Melanie?
Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. So I take care of booking for Move Concerts Argentina, meaning I take care of all the international acts playing in Buenos Aires, and of being a kind of agent for the artists we manage from our office there, which are we have a roster of 6 or 7 domestic acts, all of them up and coming.
Brilliant, okay, thank you. And good to know who's in our audience as well. Do we have any promoters in the room? Yeah, show of hands. Okay, yeah, a few. Any agents? Yeah, one at the back. Okay, venues. One venue. Any labels or publishing companies, sync companies? One. Okay. Artists. Okay, fair few artists. And other, which would be the rest of you. All right, good. All right. I was going to show you, my name's Brij. I work for Pollstar magazine, which is this magazine right here. And you can all grab a copy. There's quite a few here at the end. And we kind of collect the box office, the data for touring artists, small ones, major artists. So I thought it would be good just to share some data around what we're discussing today that we have. We have this thing called the Artist Power Index, which is looking at different metrics, live streaming, airplay, and social, and just combining that data between them. So the list is refreshed every week. This was from last week, and you can see, obviously, at the top end, Lady Gaga, Kendrick Lamar, The Weeknd, Billie Eilish, and you can see that's kind of across live streaming, airplay, and social. Who's kind of leading in the global touring industry. At the bottom of that chart, at the top of the chart, so yeah, Lady Gaga, Kendrick Lamar, The Weeknd, Billie Eilish. At the bottom of the chart, towards the top 50, you can see some other names there. And the next slide is on who's kind of leading in social, in terms of kind of social media, who's kind of at the top there. and interesting to know, what these artists are doing on their social media to really engage with their fans, their community. So worth checking out these artists to see what they're doing there. And this is, of course, this is for streaming, the top streaming artists. So I think it all kind of helps towards the conversation today. So yeah, that's the end of these slides. So virality on social media has become one of the most powerful tools for artists to get attention quickly. A single trending post or viral video can catapult an artist to fame, bring them to a new audience, or generate unprecedented levels of engagement. What is your take on that? Positives and negatives, any particular artists that you can relate to on that and worked with? Louis, I'll start with you as a promoter, and not that everybody does use social media, some people may not, but just what's your take on all that?
It's important for us to know what's going on with the socials, especially in the festival world. When you book a festival, people are not driven just by the artist. They want to be part of an event. They're buying one ticket for a large amount of artists, so it's not just one act that is driving the sales, and it's an act of curiosity. And they might not buy a ticket for some artists in a hard ticket play, but if the artist is very much alive on socials and the name is ringing always in a festival, they'll be curious to know more. So we tend to pay attention to who's buzzing, and we can also try to be to time the artist when we see it's bubbling, it's evolving fast. At the moment we're booking the band, it's not gonna translate into tickets, but we don't need it because Post Malone's gonna sell the tickets. But the undercard, then we look at stuff that might be there 6 months from now, a year from now, and then socials is the only thing, well, it's one of the main thing where you can see something is going to happen. So we could not potentially sell those tickets right now for these artists, but if we add them and they play in front of Benson Boone 6 months from now, then it's gonna happen. So in that sense, we pay attention to whatever is going on there, and we know that the new generation, they connect with artists via socials first. So when you look at streamings, it tells you something, but not everything, because there's a new generation that are starting to listen to music actually on TikTok, on YouTube, not on Apple Music or Spotify. Yeah. So you need to look at that closely. The challenge is to get data that is geo-localized. This is the hardest part. Streaming, it's easy. You know who's streaming in Quebec City exactly. What is the difference? Is it stronger in Quebec than it is in some other markets? So then you can get a feeling. But socials, it's harder for a promoter to get there. I guess artists know where they are impactful, but we don't always get that level of precision. And we would love for a Pollstar to give us like geo-driven data. That'd be very helpful.
Sure. Okay. Tom, as an agent,
just in terms of what signing artists or
just how it can, I suppose, looking at how quickly a post or whatever can impact their touring and
yeah, I mean, so we have to sort of be careful with it, because often viral artists don't sell tickets, or like the transition from like being a viral artist to becoming a hard ticket selling artist is not necessarily straightforward. But it, as you said, it can definitely like point you in the right direction. I think viral moments tend to have like passive fans, rather when you want to like sell tickets or sell a tour, you need to like really have like engaged fan base. So I guess a viral moment is maybe like the first step. It can certainly like turn us on to an artist and put them on our radar, but it doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to sign them and it's going to be a big success. There's more of a journey towards that. So yeah, I think seeing stats and data does really help, but it's very much like the first step towards something.
Sure.
Yeah.
Melanie?
Yes, definitely virality helps somehow, but you need to always be looking for a step further. Like, I've been checking, for example, Gracie Abrams now. For a while, I've been working around putting up an offer for her, and I'm just thinking, like, okay, Sabrina Carpenter, Chaperone were here 2 years ago. Where is she now? So I'm just looking at the stats, like transposing those timelines to see where this could be going, because it could, and it could be a flop, definitely, but it somehow helps to have those references in front of me.
Yeah, it's good indication to where it could be going. And the market value of an artist is influenced by multiple factors ranging from tangible elements such as the number of spectators they attract to a concert, to the intangible aspects such as branding, digital presence. However, while capturing attention of the online environment is key, the real challenge lies to that translating to ticket sales and long-term loyalty. So, how do you feel, Louis, about that?
Say that again?
Yeah. In a roundabout way. So just long-term loyalty for the artist and how it and ticket sales and how their social media presence can affect that and kind of lead the way to a longer career. Do you think that that's the case now?
I think we're going to find out in a few years, because it's a new era where everything is it's happening very quickly, and it's very quick from zero to the top, and I guess it's quick to go down as well, and so it's a new. What will happen to Chapel and Sabrina in 10 years? I don't know. I know Taylor Swift will still be there. For those, it's very hard to predict because it happens so fast. And I think the first one that took off so quick, it was probably Billie Eilish. I remember trying to buy Billie Eilish and offering $50K and being a bit short and saying, well, she can't sell tickets. And yeah, but she will. And then a couple of months later, you're offering 250 and you're still a bit short. And we were chasing her value, and she was always faster and faster. And she did that all the way to the top. And it looks like she's going to stay there. So if Billy can sustain that, maybe others will. But there's a lot to be proven of that new generation of artists that happened on socials, and it went viral very quickly. And it's hard to say if it's for the long run, because I'm wondering if at the speed we're creating a new Chapel Roan, for the entire planet to fall in love with Chapel, they must let go of a lot of other artists that they fell in love just the same 2 years ago. So will social, well, social is a way to do it quick. Is it a way to last? I don't know.
And then album releases and having the material as well to kind of back it up, and
it's a full package. It's Chapel has a personality that translates in socials, but in her music and her writing, she's connected to the 80s in a way, so she's appealing for people my age and for my daughter. And to me, I think a Chapel has a lot to maybe go for a very long time, just like a Cyndi Lauper. A Sabrina, she's stronger now than Chapel, for instance, and she's very high right now, but it feels more less genuine, or so maybe I wouldn't bet on. I don't know if that answers the question, but yeah, it's a lot of things, and the more unique and the more people can connect with. But I look at my daughter; she's 11. And I see how she connects with all those, and it tells me, oh, this is a deeper connection. She likes Tate McRae, but she loves Taylor Swift. So there's something about Taylor Swift. I mean, Taylor Swift is the thing. I guess we need to dig into Taylor Swift, and you'll find what you need to stay strong. She's not creating tons of hits anymore. She doesn't need it anymore. It's brilliant.
She broke all records, didn't she, on box office records? So whatever she's doing is working. And
Yeah, but Sabrina needs hits.
yeah,
I think Taylor Swift's got credit in the bank, right? She's got
Yeah.
years worth of hits, so she's at that stage in her career where she can pretty much do what she wants. I think what we're all kind of touched on here is consistency, right? You have that viral moment, and then it's about following up with that with a strong album campaign, strong singles, a strong social media campaign. It's just once you have that first like flare up, it's maintaining it. And you know, people like Chapel Sabrina, they've done that. They've blown up, but then they've come out with like, you know, hit after hit after hit that's connected, and it's just catapulted them even further. So I think like, yeah, a key component is consistency and consistency is key.
And a strong live performance as
Yeah,
well. I mean, I've seen lots of Latin acts incredibly viral. Mostly before the pandemic, I think that Bad Bunny had millions of streams already, J Balvin and Daddy Yankee, and none of them were selling tickets outside Spanish-speaking countries. This is something that changed after the pandemic and after they developed huge concerts with international productions, as if they were Anglo acts. They started behaving in a different way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, consistency across all, like, you know, singles, social media, and the live campaign. Yeah.
yeah, brilliant. Okay, good. And I mean, in recent times, it seems that the artists are stronger in their digital presence. More stronger they are, the more value assigned to them in the kind of touring marketplace. And we've kind of touched on it a bit, but does that necessarily translate into more ticket sales for promoters? I mean,
It's definitely a metric that's used, but like I said before, a TikTok viral star, the type of audience that is watching that TikTok might not necessarily be like a gig-going, you know, a customer or what have you, a person. So it's about working out, you know, which is which, and you know, again, you have this moment, and then you engage that fan base with like, you know, fan clubs, mailing lists, all these kind of things where you really like find your core audience that will buy tickets. Because I still think that one of the strongest metrics, and all this data and everything like that is brilliant, but one of the strongest metrics you can have as an artist is who is going to pay their, you know, 50 quid to go watch you perform. That's, you know, one of the biggest payments you can make as a fan. So, yeah, I think there's it's the journey to get to that point, right, and how you do it. And social media and stuff is great, but it doesn't necessarily translate to direct ticket sales. And there's a lot more kind of strategy as to how to do that. Yeah.
It depends a lot on the genre as well, and on
Yeah.
the audience, on the target you are working with. I mean, we had Nora Jones in Buenos Aires playing 9,500 tickets, which is a lot for her. And there were no kind of indications, either on social media, on chart metrics, or anywhere that you would have said, okay, she's selling that amount of tickets. For instance, she sold twice as much as the last time she played there in 2019. There's not a single cue of what happened. And on the other hand, you have, Peso Pluma, who is a super viral act, who came to Buenos Aires, played a show, didn't sold out. So it's an indication when you go to certain type of audience. It's not always what drives sales, I think.
Yeah. Brij.
Some artists are a puzzle, but they some you would expect to sell and they don't, and some you don't know where it's coming from, and they just sell tickets and tickets and tickets, and you don't see them as much. And it's the organic growth of an artist is something very unpredictable, but when it happens, it's the best thing that can happen to an artist and to sustain a career in the long run. I'm thinking of a band out of Quebec City actually called Men I Trust, and they sing in English, and they have an international career, and no one saw it coming. It's just a small indie band, and they're doing their things, and it's not gonna be a very large band, but they're good for 3,000 to 5,000 tickets in several markets around the world. And it keeps growing. And every time they play again, it's bigger and bigger. And it's not a social thing. It's just happening. They don't know how they did that, but it's so. This is still the most magical thing about live music, when they find their audience.
Yeah.
And every fan, when you go there, you watch it, you're coming back with someone else, and it's growing slowly, but always one step up.
Yeah.
It still feels the old school way of growing a band is still probably the strongest, right?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
Is that the more conventional kind of, release a single or an album?
Maybe not so much in like the releasing, like the single sense, but in the live sense. So, an example would be a band called Fat Dog, who are a really, really good band. I don't work with them, but they just gigged and gigged and gigged. They came out of a venue out of London called Windmill, and they just toured and toured and toured, and they got this like real reputation for being an incredible live act, which then got rather than like, they're not massive streamers, they're signed to Domino and stuff, but they're not huge streamers, but they're just known as this incredible live act that you have to go see, and they play the big festival stages and they sell out their tours, but their streaming's not big, and it's purely built off just grafting and just like gigging and gigging and gigging, which again is maybe not the healthiest way to do it as well. Some bands burn out very quickly that way, but it's happening, it's still out there. There's these old school ways of growing bands, especially in the kind of like rock indie universe.
I think, like Melanie said, I think it depends on the genre of music, and
Yeah.
it's like K-pop or
Yeah.
Latin or country or whatever. There are certain genres which are really kind of blowing up quickly, but I think maybe in the rock industry, I think going out there, earning your stripes, and just kind of playing live and honing your sound.
Gigs making gigs, that's what they say.
Yeah.
Gigs
Yeah.
make gigs. So.
Any questions from the audience at this point? Anybody want to ask the panelists anything? No? Okay. Later on. Okay. So, looking at global markets, new territories, how does social media help for artists who want to play outside of their country, and they're strong domestic acts, but they want to play globally? And on the opposite side, I think kind of as an agent, Tom, bringing kind of global acts to other territories which you haven't been working with as much. And Asia, for example, they've got a very kind of strong connection with online, channels and such. So both sides kind of domestically kind of getting those acts to play globally, and then bringing some of those artists to more.
Yeah, I mean, and this sort of data really helps with that. I mean, often when we're trying to sign an artist, especially if they're working with another agency, which isn't totally PC, is it? But
who's that, Tom?
I know, I'm not saying, but like sometimes you'll go to an act and you'll be like, okay, here are your stats. You've done so much touring here in Europe, but like you have this massive fan base in South America. So let's get you to South America. Why haven't you played South America? So it can be really useful in that sense, and we do use it. And the same happens as well with when we're getting A&R tips. People will send us like this artist from Korea or wherever is really got strong numbers in London. Have you seen this yet? You should put a show on, see how it goes, and So yeah, we use it. We use that quite a lot.
Cool.
Yeah, I have something interesting about another band from Quebec City, actually, but I know bands from everywhere, but those are interesting. They're called Ghostly Kisses, and they used to just play the market, and they weren't even a big band in the market. But then they started looking at streamings and socials and to see who's interested in what we're doing, and they realized that there was a lot of listenings in Egypt and Iraq and that part of the world, Middle East, and they didn't know why. They never intend to create music that appeals to those people specifically, and it kept growing there, and so they engaged socially and they tried to start something, and at some point they went and they toured it, and in a matter of a few years they were able to sell 5,000 tickets in Egypt, and they still can't do that in their own town. So in that case, it's working here and you want to make it happen everywhere. For them, their market was not Canada, their market was Middle East. So they play India, they play Iraq, and they do it. They go twice a year now. This is their career, and the socials are super strong. People are engaging. They go there, and the fans, they know all the words, and they have no clue how it happened. But now they feed it, because you need to. You need to go where the music takes you, and in their case, it's there. And in reverse now, they're starting to get attention in North America. So Tom Windisch just signed them because that thing happened, and they couldn't even find a manager in province of Quebec because it wasn't a strong act. And now Americans are chasing them, but they still don't sell tickets here. But now everyone is wondering why, and they're trying to play that reverse. So that's a very good example of you need to look at the metric and stop doing something that is not working and try to do stuff that might work. And whatever you can get, the intel you can gather from socials, it's essential in that.
You see that happening with like established acts, right? It's so nice. These bands that have been trying for so hard, or artists that have been trying for years, so are getting nowhere, and then they find their audience, and it just explodes for them. And yeah, that tends to happen with like more established artists rather than new artists. But yeah, it's great to see. Yeah.
I think if there's like an infrastructure there, like promoters and venues to work with, and I think some markets, maybe in South America back in the day, was they didn't know who are the promoters to work with, for Maxim here to play there, and that's becoming a lot more transparent now. So in Egypt and such, knowing who are the promoters in Egypt to work with to put on those shows. So I think the infrastructure is kind of building within a lot of these kind of territories which weren't as well known before. But yeah, it's all good, really. Yeah.
I'm thinking that despite the virality, it's important for any artist to work a market they want to go to, because otherwise they become just like celebrities. So it's like a really small step in between being a really important person that everybody follows on Instagram and knows what they are wearing and who is she dating or he dating or whatever they do with their lives. But the translation has to do with working specifically each place you're going to. It's not the same South America than Egypt and Europe. Each of us have like any particularities that needs to be worked on.
Yeah, for sure. I think each market geographically is very different, and you've got to adapt to each, really. And online channels. I mean, any kind of preferences for each of you? Like, what's your go-to when you see an artist you're intrigued about? Louis, what's the first thing you would look at? When you're looking online.
We're trying to look at all of it. Like the index you mentioned, the power index. I like it because it's a blend of everything. So we want to know for every artist, if it's a younger artist, maybe not the same socials. Obviously, you don't care about the Facebook members, but maybe for a classic rock band, you might want to look at that if you need that kind of info. So you wanna. There's a site called Roster that we use because it's like in one click you see all the socials ranked, and it gives you a sense of what's going on. Streaming we love, although you never know if it's gonna translate in tickets, but we love it because the data speaks louder. Because you can see if you gather the geo-localized streaming, as I was saying, you can look what happened in the past 2 years, and then you can look what happened in the past 6 months, and we look at the increase. So we rank tons of bands when we build a festival lineup. So we put lots of names that we're interested to, and we try to see who's on the upside. So 2 years into 1 year into 6 months, and you see like 1,000 person up, 300 person up, and so okay, there's something going on here, while this one is stable. And as I said earlier, with socials and at the speed that it's going, make and break, we see artists that were very interesting a year ago, 2 years ago. All festivals were chasing, and if they stop recording, releasing singles, stop engaging, you'll see that streaming is going down very, very quickly, while the Eagles are pretty steady. You know, it's there's nothing they can do to build or lose it.
Yeah.
But you don't look at that as when the only thing you want to know with the Eagles is the gross, and we do look at ticket gross. It's still the basic of it all. Can you sell tickets?
You know, for Pollstar, the two metrics that they kind of stand by is, you know, ticket sales and gross, and they think, you know, essentially those are the two key components you've got to look at. You know, how many tickets they're selling, how much money are they making. It's the first time we did another chart, which is a power index to look at, you know, radio play and streaming. But, you know, fundamentally they think for promoters and agents and managers, it's just how much money you're making, how many tickets you're selling, which will indicate their kind of live worth, you know, on the road.
I guess, so for me, is from an A&R perspective, I will, you know, signing artists, one of the first things I'll do is look on Instagram and then look who's following. And then if it's labels, managers, people I know, they could have like 200 followers, but if 20 of those people are big players within the industry, then you know something's going on there. And then you might reach out and ask for information if it's a really young band. But then if it's like a, you know, a more major act that's joining from another agency, then we'll look at streaming, hard ticket value, show history, where have they played over the last 5 years, and kind of like chart the growth there along with like streaming and all that. Yeah, so yeah, those are the main metrics we look at.
Cool. Melanie?
Yeah, all the same, both of what they say, and I also like to join like whenever there's a fan group on WhatsApp or Instagram or anywhere. I like to get there and to check what they are talking about, so I kind of get some inside information from fans. It's really funny because you get to see how they are fighting to each other and to what they are discussing, but at the same time it brings you an idea of how engaged they are to the artist.
So WhatsApp is, you know, they have like groups.
There are like fan groups
Right,
on
okay.
WhatsApp,
Yeah.
so I joined them.
You're right, okay.
And
Now we know.
Reddit
Yeah.
is great as well. You can get the real hardcore fans on Reddit, or like if there's like
Yes, definitely.
if there's like a scene going on, so there tends to be like a scene where there's like a sad boys thing. Some people might know where, and they are so online, so Reddit, and all these new acts come through, and they're all like reviewing them on Reddit and stuff like that. So
Yes.
that's
We
even like
are-
before they pop on socials. They can sometimes have these artists that pop on forums. So.
We are promoting ADO in Buenos Aires, Brazil, and Chile. This was brought to us by Concert West, and it was a total leap of faith because there were no numbers. I mean, you would check on chart metrics, and there was no data on streams, on followers, on anything. And then we started looking at Reddit, WhatsApp chats, and all over these like side comments on, I don't know, YouTube, or information given to us by the owner of a party with Japanese music. So having a discussion with people who know what's going on around the artist, it's really interesting, and it helps you build the offer. And we are selling out all 3 countries, by the way.
Feels like there's definitely like this wave of like anti-social media artists that are growing, that are sort of, you know, we're all talking about top line stuff here in terms of like newer artists that are kind of like not playing by the rules. They don't have socials. They kind of create this mystery. There's another act called Ice Morph that did this whole thing on, I forget the name of the forum, but it's like a cloud forum thing, and they release demos and they engage with their fan base that way. So there's people that are anti-data that are also thriving as well. This kind of, I guess it's a kind of punk way of growing in the music industry.
Even like your kind of cassette tapes kind of being passed around now, and that kind of,
Yeah.
And like, you know, I still think that has its place as well, kind of just...
I mean, whether it's going to sell stadiums out, I don't know, but it's definitely like, you know, it's exciting and it's interesting, and it's a great way of growing as well, yeah.
You know, for the artists in the room now, like any challenges you kind of face in terms of socials, and, you know, any questions you want to ask the panelists? No, still quiet. Okay, good. We'll come back to you. Come back.
Regarding that, I think that, I mean, when I put myself the manager or the agent hat, which I also wear at the office every day, I do want for my acts to have viral moments and to increase their numbers in social media. So it's kind of contradictory because it's not what I like to book, but it's what I demand for my artists to do.
It's how you
somehow.
cross over, isn't it? It's how you go from an underground artist to a commercialized. Unfortunately, if you want to be a stadium act, you have to have social media and engage that way as well.
And do you think, for some artists, like, they become like their own kind of manager, they're kind of doing the socials, it's the business element of it all, and ultimately they want to just make music, and they're probably not sometimes the best people for being those kind of business heads.
Social media nowadays, managing social media and growing it is a full-time job, and the artists that manage themselves treat it like a full-time job with like planned posts and all this kind of thing, which is like, it's exhausting because you've got to create on top of that as well. But yeah.
And I suppose there's an element of like, if you're not doing well on your socials, then you're not worthy enough, and it can be a bit deflating. In there, whilst they're trying to focus on the music ideally at the beginning, when they're kind of emerging, and that should be the focus primarily, I think. But they have to now, look at all of those things. So I think it's tough as emerging artists that are. Some are good at doing it, some maybe not as good at doing it. So,
it's not about if you're good at doing it, it's about how you are comfortable doing it, maybe. So not every artist is meant to be showing like their everyday life on social media, get ready with me for this award or whatever. Maybe you have to check what's the narrative you want to share, you feel comfortable sharing, what's authentic to you, and that's where you make a choice of what you are showing on social media, and that's how you become viral, I think.
Exactly, I agree.
But some are more natural to it. Some are very interesting, like a Zach Bryan happened in the U.S., being on social, just playing songs on his guitar, and he's just he's giving it all in the socials. He tries new songs all the time, so the fans, they know if you're really into. I know Zach Bryan that probably doesn't mean a lot outside of the U.S. right now, but he's selling stadiums. And he's been doing this before he was an artist, and it happened, and it stayed there, and it's him at all time with the band. There's always a phone rolling, and it's just sometimes he's not protecting his image. It's just it's raw. It's whatever it is today, and as soon as he has a new melody, tries it, and now, if you're a diehard fan, you know those songs will eventually end up on a record. So the way he built this thing, it was, I don't think he meant it, but he was perfect for the job, and it worked for him massively.
Another example would be Ghost. They opened themselves to a whole new audience in the past years, and you don't know their faces, you don't know who they are, but they do have this whole narrative about the Pope and the new popes and the whole story they created, and that's what became viral on social media. So it's a lot of content, at the same time it's not exposing them or their lives at all, and it brought to their concerts 15-year-old girls. Like, we had them playing in Buenos Aires 2 years ago. Half the audience was the big old metal fan you would expect. The other half was 14, 15, 17-year-old girls. All of them dressed up as Pope Emeritus IV. It was really funny. So that's a way of building a career in social media, or rebuilding their career somehow and reshaping their audience.
Yeah, I mean, it is a great way to kind of connect with an audience and build an audience, ultimately, and just kind of cracking it and knowing how to do it. I mean, in the next kind of 5 to 10 years, any kind of prediction on where things are going on the emerging side and obviously at the top side as an agent? I'll start with you, Tom.
In terms of how we use the data? Or?
Yeah, just kind of, do you, around social media specifically, like, do you think it's just going to grow and become more of this, or?
I mean, yeah, I think it's just going to follow the path that it's already on. It's frustrating that it's kind of come to this in some ways, but it is an important metric, and especially if you, like we were discussing, going from underground to overground, it's, you know, it's a good sign of something working and developing. So yeah, I think it's going to continue to be an important part of signing and developing and growing acts. Yeah.
And you know, as you said, Louis, that you've got like a plan of like, looking at artists now and then 2 or 3 years time and seeing how they're kind of moving up. And how long is that plan normally? Is it 2, 3 years or 5 years, or you know?
Yeah, it's fast. I mean, if you're using the socials right now and that this is how you want to make it, usually it's happening rather fast than if you're growing organically. So the question is, can it be sustained? Is it a good way to go for the long run? But at the end of the day, it's always about the songs. So no matter how good you are at everything else, Zach Bryan is a good writer. That's why it happened. But there's a lot of good writers, so you need to, if you're a good one, you need to be exposed and you need the people to be able to find you. If you're not writing good songs, it's never going to work. So that is the one thing that's never going to change unless Chat GPT writes better songs than all of us in 5 years from now. And that's a big question right now.
I didn't touch on AI, you know, but it's a thing now. Obviously, it's and in the next 5 years, AI will grow a lot, and that impact on recorded music and all kind of metrics and everything. Who knows where that's going?
Yeah, this is going to be interesting to watch.
Any questions yet from anybody? Yeah. Okay. Good. Thank you. We'll just get your mic. 1 second, then we can hear you a bit better. Yeah. I was talking to this. This is just a pointer for that, the screen. For the first, I don't know if anybody noticed, but I was talking into that like a microphone, and I actually have one here. That doesn't work. I feel a bit stupid now, you know. Yeah.
I was trying to figure out what would happen on the stage or on social media when who is writing is the IA. Are there going to be a fake artist or?
Well,
there are already.
Yeah.
Like holograms? You mean like hologram type things?
Rihanna is not a writer, and she's good on the stage. So writing is something. I think probably right now tons of artists are using AI to get better lyrics at least, and some are using it to get better melodies as well. And so maybe that, or it will happen, or it's happening in the writing process. But being on stage, what Chapel Roan is doing, and it's I don't know. I guess this is not going anywhere. I hope we collectively will want to engage with someone that is sharing what they're going through. I mean, when Springsteen is touring the Europe right now, and every night he's talking about Trump and whatever is happening in the U.S., AI can't touch that. So. Yeah, authenticity and everything that's genuine about a person engaging with others through music. But then maybe AI can write a few songs for Bruce, and they're going to be good ones as well. So.
Yes, and there are also so many authors in every song right now. Like any song that got released in the past 5 or 10 years, you would go see the credits, and there are like 5, 6, 10 writers or people involved in composition or everything. So it's not just the person we see on stage ever.
And even in terms of kind of earning potential for an artist, if they are writing their own songs, but now, you know, there's much more collaborations that are going on. Yeah, I mean, even like into kind of sync and that kind of stuff, you know, could be a good revenue earner for artists beyond touring as well. But, you know, writing your own music is still quite key. That's another conversation. Tom, anything on that?
No.
Sorry, if you don't mind, I have another question.
Please,
regarding the price of the tickets. I mean, how we have here in the title just inflating market values. How does this affect to the price of the ticket? This inflating thing on social media, and how do you sustain that?
I was coming to that. I was going to come to that.
Oh,
as
so
well, yeah.
sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. You beat me to it. But yeah, it's something we've got to cover, you know. So yeah.
Yeah. This is a big topic. There's a lot to say about this, but at the end of the day, what's happening on ticket price is, if I can, in a nutshell, socials are part of what happened, and we have entered a new era where someone like Chabaron or Billie Eilish or Taylor Swift, they are so much into our lives. They go so deep with my 11 years old that the new fans, they're willing to pay anything, and that's it. Because it's not, you can say that Live Nation created, how do you call it, the dynamic pricings.
Yeah.
So yeah, they didn't create anything. It's offer and demand. They just manage it with a system that is working, and the system is allowing us to pay any stupid money we're stupid enough to pay to see an artist. And that's it. That's what's going on. And that means a lot of money can come in. And that means right now, I mean, when I started booking festivals 25 years ago, $1 million act was not something. $500,000, you would think, the Rolling Stones. And now $1 million act is just anyone who can sell half an arena in 20 cities. You know, it's crazy, but it's because we are buying the tickets. So how far can we go? That's the question. Are we all willing to spend $500 to see anyone who is viral right now with 2 songs? And we're like, yeah, it's worth 500. Well, if it's worth 500. Then Sabrina Carpenter is worth 2.5 million euros every night. So it's just, is it socials? Is it who we are? I don't know. It's a very big question. But the only way to stop this is to stop spending $1,000 to go see Taylor Swift. Yeah.
And on the emerging kind of side of it, you know, for breaking bands at the moment, so charging that at the right cost. I remember, the Fred Again was a big thing last year, and filling out huge venues, but kept the pricing, I think, quite minimal. Which is quite good. Any?
I guess the problem with emerging acts is the cost of touring. Just the cost of everything is raised, so it's a much different problem that we have. That that. In the UK, you used to be able to go to most gigs for an emerging band for £10, and now that's gone nearly doubled just to see like a band play a 100-cap room. So the price of everything is really affecting that, and the cost of touring. So the cost of traveling, traveling to the venue, the cost of putting the show on, the cost of promoting, everything has gone up. So unfortunately, that goes to the consumer direct, and that's what's pushing up the prices of the smaller bands. It's different with someone like Taylor Swift because that is very much a supply and demand scenario, and dynamic pricing is a tool that they use to really profit from that. So yeah, it's a massive conversation. It's a really hot topic in agency land as well, is kind of like pricing your show right. It can also be the difference between selling out a show and not selling out a show is getting the ticket price wrong. Even with like a medium-sized act, that can happen. So yeah, it's a really big issue right now. Promoters and agents need to work together. It tends to be a bit of a battle at the minute, trying to explain each other's point of view. But yeah, in general, I try to keep it as fair as possible. A lot of the bands that I work with really obviously care about their fans. They understand the situation a lot of people are facing. They want to keep it fair. I don't quite work with Billie Eilish and stadium acts just yet. I don't know if that's probably different. But the people I work with tend to be more of the kind of, they want to make it work and they want to sell out shows essentially. So we kind of just find the right sort of price point for that.
And hopefully, ticketing companies are kind of looking at social media as well and kind of, finding out what kind of fan base they have and
Yeah. So like, for example, a TikTok star with a hardcore, cult celebrity fan base might pay more for a ticket than, say, like a rock band from Camden, who has a load of kind of like, traditional gig goers. So, yeah, that also like feeds into it as well.
Yeah.
Yes, it depends on the audience, of course. I think FOMO is playing a big part on increased average ticket prices. Like, people are willing to go to more concerts. Buenos Aires and Argentina mostly has become a weird place because ticket prices increased a lot. Like, we went on sale with Green Day yesterday at an average ticket price of $144, which is more expensive than in the US or probably in Europe. And at the same time, we are really close to sell out. So as long as nobody puts a limit on it and as long as people don't stop buying tickets, ticket prices will keep on going up, because we had to put these prices for Green Day because System of a Down had similar prices. So when they realized they could charge the same warranty as System of a Down, we had to increase the warranty for Green Day. So it's kind of scaling up, and I think it's going to reach a limit. We're not so far from there right now because prices are like extremely high.
In the UK, I think we got close with Oasis. I feel like that's kind of like the limit of the situation there and the dynamic pricing. And it was very much like a FOMO situation where people were deliberately kept in queues, funneled through at the last minute, and then they'd been waiting for 2 hours. Then you could only buy a ticket if it's £300, and then that triggers this thing: I'm going to miss out if I don't pay now. And it was a whole like ethical issue which went to the courts and stuff like that. So yeah, it can be really. Yeah, it's an interesting time for ticket prices, definitely. Yeah. And I feel like the Oasis situation might be the start of like sort of regulation and calming it down, certainly in UK and Europe anyway.
Yeah. And those very high prices for those artists, it means the fans, if you spend 150 for Green Day, then there's a club show in a 500 cap room with a small Green Day. You don't have the money anymore to go there. You don't, or you would like to pay $10 or $15, but when we're promoting shows in 500 cap and 950 cap, and those budgets are impossible to make work. I mean, as a promoter, we're not making money unless it's sold out, and you in a 1,000 cap room, you walk away with 1,500 on a sold out night. So there's no more. I mean, you rely on bar or. It's so difficult to make it work, and if it's a 400 cap room or smaller for small artists, it would have to be free. People would not go unless it's almost free. You cover charge for your coat, and that's it. And then you would put people in, but the technicians, the production, all of it doesn't add up. And if you're spending a few times in a year for Billie Eilish and Green Day and a few festivals at $500, I don't know how much are the tickets for Primavera, but festivals, they need to be very expensive too. Otherwise, they can't bring that level of talent anymore. So it just it doesn't feel right. Let's see what happens in the next couple of years. But since the pandemic, the thing is, it's been working. Festivals are more expensive. Artists are charging a lot more, but it's still working unless it doesn't. So yeah, again, it's when all of us will say enough is enough. I don't know if that'll happen. Maybe because of the connection with the socials, it's so important now for the fans to see their artists, and that's a good thing. I mean, it's a healthy business at some point, but for the emerging artists, it's very, very difficult.
I think going back to social media, like, you can just see where the demand is and where the audience is. So if they're willing to pay it, like we said. We only have 5 minutes left. Is any other questions from the audience? Yeah, we've got one here, please.
You were just now talking about resources. For me as an artist, I think money is not so much the resource, but more of my time. My music is doing pretty well, but social media is doing not so great. Would you rather say, like, focus to bring the social media up because that is really important, or maybe just find some PR people, because I think 20 years ago, artists was not really doing the whole PR run for themselves. And would you rather say, like, focus on your music because that's what you're good at, or get some help, or try to do a mix?
Tom, as an agent?
Yeah, I think just finding your audience. Like, we're all talking about social media here mainly as a tool to find your audience. If you don't have lots of followers, those are your followers. You have some followers. Engage with those followers. Reach out to them. Start a mailing list. Do a small show. You can sort of gauge, how big a show you can do from your followers and some of the data. It's by no means everything. It won't define you as an artist, but it's definitely a useful tool, certainly in the beginning. And just really engage and really focus on those people and really get them, into your music, deliver an amazing show for them, and then, quickly line up another show afterwards somewhere else and slowly build it that way. Kind of like the old school way of doing it, I guess, of like, gigs make gigs. So, just get out there, play shows, engage with your audience, give them the best night you possibly can, and grow it that way. And be patient as well. I think a lot of people see like the instant, the virality of stuff just exploding so quick. And that's actually quite rare, and it doesn't happen loads. So I just think be patient with it as well and just, grow it properly. And in terms of bringing someone in, I think a lot of artists make the mistake of bringing a massive team in really quick because they feel like they need all this stuff and there's pressure. And you see all these, other artists at smaller levels doing it. But I think if you're building your own universe and creating like a genuine fan base, you'll naturally attract those kind of people. So I just think, which kind of sort of lends itself to saying, just focus on your music and focus on your audience. And
are there any channels, Tom, like Bandcamp or Bandcamp?
Yeah, no, Bandcamp. Bandcamp's great. I mean, like, Instagram is the one that I really rate and use the most for in terms of getting seen in A&R and stuff like that. But yeah, I think playing shows, engaging your audience. Yeah.
Cool. Louis or Melanie, any?
No, I mean, it's always about the songs. When we work as A&Rs and we receive an artist who's bringing their project to the company, it's first about the songs and then about the narrative. Like, I like to understand, you were just saying about the universe. Okay, what's the story you want to tell? Where would you like your audience to be? How would you like for them to listen to you? And then we start building above that. Like, that's what you would have a manager or an A&R for. You need to bring good music and good material, and that's where we would like to get involved.
Yeah, I think you need to, a good story is very important. And you need to focus. Often artists, they're looking for the home run. You want to showcase at South by Southwest or at anywhere else around the world and do one gig hoping that someone in the room will make it work from instantly. That almost never works. You don't need to play showcases around the world, or you need to be the best artist in your street and then in your neighborhood, eventually in your city, and find your audience and go to them, engage with them. But just a bit of everything is usually not gonna do it. So, but again, if it would be that easy, we would all be rock stars. So,
yeah. Well, on that note, I think we've got to wrap it up. But just quickly, who are you looking forward to seeing, Louis, at Primavera in a few days?
Chapel.
Chapel, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Tom?
I mean, TV on the radio and Fuckers, obviously, and then also Chapel, yeah, Chapel.
And TV on the radio and Focus.
Of course.
Cool, Melanie?
I'd say Chapel, I'd say Wet Leg, because I saw them long ago in London, and I'd like to see how they developed. So
They're massive. They're so big.
Yeah.
Brilliant. All right, good. Well, I think we're out of time, right? No, sorry, guys. No more time left. But grab a copy of Pollstar. They're right at the front. It's good to have that. And thank you to these amazing panelists, and I hope you found that useful. And get in touch with them if you need anything. That's all right, yeah?
Yeah,
Good.
of course. Thanks.
Thanks.
Thank you.